welcome to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is video in a series of videos that's going to be the 3-day hearing transcripts. We're going to read over the transcripts from the 3-day hearing that the defense and state had with Judge Gull. This took place on July 30th and 31st and August 1st. So today we're going to go over the July 30th transcripts, and these are both regarding the motion to dismiss. So we've gone over the motions, and now this is the hearing that they had. So let's get started. Please hit that like button and let's begin. So this is going to be the testimony of Detective Roland Purdy. All right. So he's up first. We've got Nicholas McLeland, James Luttrell, and Stacy Diener for Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. And then we have Bradley Rosie, Andrew Baldwin, and Jennifer Auger. I've heard other people say Auger. I've been saying Auger. I don't know what it is. All right. So, all right. Oh, I'm hearing some weird things. All right, so here we go. Let's begin regarding Roland Purdy's testimony. Attorney Andrew Baldwin says, I'll call Roland Purdy to the stand. The court says, yeah, I'm going to show that K is not admitted then, or I'm sorry, K is not admitted. The court says L. Attorney Jennifer Auger says L is okay. Thank you. I got it. Okay. Sorry, Judge. They're all confused about what. So I want to preface there was testimony from Dr. Monica Waller, who was treating Richard Allen, and we've been told, or anyone who asked for the transcript of that hearing of her testimony will get a response stating that it's not going to be publicly available because it has mental health records discussed, which it was a public hearing and it's on the record, so it should be open. If they wanted it closed, they should have done so beforehand, but whatever. Okay, moving on. So we don't have Dr. Walla, which is a big portion of the whole safekeeping order. And was he being coerced into his testifying? And we don't have any of, or I'm sorry, was he being coerced into the many confessions that he made in prison while he was being mistreated there and possibly tortured and coerced by guards to make these confessions? So we won't know because we don't have the transcript. But let's move on from that. It's so infuriating how she tries to keep everything um, hidden from the public. All right, so Mr. Baldwin is doing the questions. Question: Thank you for this surprise appearance. State your name for the record. Answer: Roland Richard Purdy. And what do you do for a living? I'm a detective with the Indiana State Police. Do you work on the Delphi homicide case? Yes, I did. Did you investigate at some point in time Brad Holder? He had been cleared, so I had looked at his Facebook, that type of thing, with the understanding that he'd been cleared already. Well, then why are you looking into him if you've already been told he's cleared? That makes no sense. Okay, so you are familiar with the social media, is that correct? Yes. Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been previously marked Defendants Exhibit L and I. Oh, and I want you to look at the middle, and tell me if that is recognizable to you. I had never seen this photo before, I think the deposition. I can't remember if you showed me this photo at the deposition back last August, but I had never seen this photo before. Okay, now can I have, the court says you have L. Mr. Baldwin says, okay, let me give that back because I know when I came up, I promised I'd give it back. If I could have this one with the, I'm gonna hand, this is so confusing with all that stuff in the middle. All right. I'm gonna hand you Exhibit J. It's already been admitted into evidence. Can you identify that for me? Yes, the left photo is a picture of L.W.'s deceased body. So that would be Liberty Williams. What? Liberty German or Abby Williams. So they have that wrong. I don't know who that is. Is it L or W's deceased body? We don't know, but that's a big deal to be messing that up in a transcript. All right, so the left photo is a picture of someone's deceased body. The right photo is a pictures of bodies and stick formations that I believe was on Brad Holder's Facebook page. And you verified that in a previous deposition? Yes. That you saw that. What's on the right side photo of Exhibit J, that was in Brad Holder's Facebook. Yes, page. But your testimony today, and that's okay, that the one with the hanging man upside down, you don't remember seeing that? I don't remember that one. Mr. Baldwin says, fair enough. Okay, I don't have any other questions. The court calls Mr. Luttrell for cross-examination of Detective Roland Purdy. Detective Purdy, if I may see Exhibit J, in reference to Exhibit J, you've indicated you are familiar with that photo? Yes. It's a side-by-side photo. One side is from the crime scene in this case. Yes. Where is the other photo from? I believe Facebook. And how do you know that? I believe I saw it on Facebook. Okay, and were you asked about it in your deposition? Yes. That was, I think it was referenced in August of, yes, 2023. That's correct. And you recognized that photograph as it indicated you thought it was dated some years before the crimes? Yes, I believed it was dated 2012. That's when it was posted on Facebook? That's correct. Thank you. I have no further questions. Court says, Mr. Baldwin, and now we have redirect examination of Roland Purdy. Mr. Baldwin asks, just to supplement the record, because I think that's a limited photo, I'm going to ask one more question. Thank you. What is the proper thing to call you? Detective? Detective is fine, yes. Detective, thank you. This is Exhibit M. Can you tell me what that is? I believe that's the complete photo that was in the right half that you showed me a little bit ago, the prior. And that's the one that you saw on Brad Holder's Facebook post? Yes. Okay. Mr. Baldwin says, move to exhibit. I'm sorry, I didn't show that to them. Defendant Exhibit M. This is a full photo of what was on Brad Holder's Facebook page. Defendant's Exhibit M is offered. Mr. Luttrell has no objection. The court says, all right, without objection, M is admitted. Defendant's Exhibit M is admitted. I have no further questions. Mr. Luttrell? Just one moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, if I may, I have some outside scope of direct questions for this witness that will allow him to be excused once we're finished with him at this time. The court asks the defense any objection. Mr. Baldwin says nothing. The court says, okay, perfect. Go ahead. No, you're not done yet. The witness says, okay. The court says, no, he's going to ask you some questions outside the direct. That way, when he's done, then you're done, and then you can go for the day. All right. So questions by Mr. Luttrell of Detective Roland Purdy. Question. Detective Purdy, approximately what time frame did you work and assist on this investigation? Approximately March of 2017 to probably March of 2018. And prior to that, what was your assignment with the Indiana State Police? I was a detective with the state police. I had been assigned to an FBI task force as a task force officer. During the process of becoming a task force officer, there's a background investigation and There was a holdup on my investigation, so they sent me to Delphi to help with the investigation while all of that was going on, while my investigation was being done. A lot of investigation. Question. In the process of assisting during that approximately 1 year, did you interview Brad Holder? Yes. And where did that interview take place? Logansport Police Department. And did you question him about the homicides at Delphi? No. Wait, what? Would you tell the court what you did question him about and what did Brad Holder tell you? I was told that Brad Holder would be a good source of information concerning Odinism, and so myself and Detective Lori Lemler asked Brad Holder to come to the Logansport Police Department and we talked to him about the Odinism. Was there anything shared by Brad Holder that shed light on who took the lives of the victims in this crime? No. Did you write up a report? Not to my knowledge. So, not to your knowledge. Did you write up a report? Not to my knowledge. So your own knowledge doesn't tell you if you wrote it or not. Okay. Makes no sense. That's just the way that it's answered. It's like either no or yes. All right. And did you record the interview? Sorry. I didn't have a recorder. If it was done by Lori Lemler, and I called Lori and she didn't even remember the interview. Was it her understanding that it was not recorded as well? Yes. Have you ever come across a report or a reference to a recording documenting this conversation you had with Brad Holder in Logansport? No. Do you have any reason to believe that there's a recording out there of that? No. Interview that did not cover the Delphi homicides? No. Were you deposed? Well, you've already testified that you were deposed in August of 2023. And did you mention this interview of Brad Holder? Yes. And did you tell defense that you did not know if it was recorded, that you did not record it yourself and had no record of it being recorded? That's correct. Did you tell the defense that you did not write up a report? Yes. Mr. Luttrell, I have no further questions of Detective Purdy. Mr. Baldwin says, so if, I'm sorry, Judge, go ahead, redirect by Mr. Baldwin. He asks, Brad Holder didn't say, I took the lives of those girls to you. No. Okay, so you should have written a report, correct? Not necessarily. I mean, is that a question? It is, yes. Okay, in cases where we talk to somebody concerning subject matter, a report wouldn't necessarily be made. Why wouldn't you make a report just to say, I met with so and so and they explained Odinism to me? Period. End of story. Like, at least write the report to make it known that the meeting took place. But I guess that's not what they do. Question. I mean, you could have written down, because later on, there might be a trial or a hearing like this. So you could write, I talked to Brad Holder, and here's what he told me about onanism. And then the defense could then compare what he says with the crime scene or with anything else, right? I mean, we could have used the words out of Brad Holder's mouth to you personally, that he spoke to you for that interview. And the answer is, okay, I didn't do a report. So you didn't do a report, and we just lost days worth of interviews, recorded interviews at the police station, mysteriously recorded over for some reason, and nobody writes reports on these people. And nothing gets done to bring them back in and even log the fact that these reports were missing or deleted or recorded over. Or I'm sorry, that the interviews were recorded over. Nobody even like made a note of that. So it wasn't until the defense found out like way later while they were doing their discovery. All right. Okay, so I didn't do a report. You should have recorded it too, right? Not necessarily on a case like that where we're just looking for information. Question. Becky Patty, he just cuts him off. Becky Patty is the one that led you to Brad Holder, is that correct? That's who first told me that Brad Holder was an Odinist. Yeah, that's correct. Becky Patty, grandmother of Libby, tells this detective that Brad Holder is an Odinist. So they knew there was some kind of Odinist something or other? The Becky, or the Patties, I mean? Becky Patty knew? How? I'm so confused. And why she directed him to him? Question. And what interested you about it was that the unusual stick configurations found at the scene and Norse paganism as a possible explanation for how those girls were lives were taken, right? That's why you went over to talk to Brad. That's correct. And you or not. That's not why I talked to Brad cuz I was told he had been cleared just for information from Brad concerning Odinism. Nice backtrack. My gosh, did you go talk to Patrick Westphal about Onanism? No. Did you go talk to anybody else about Onanism? Yes. Who else? Tony Portwood. And he works for the state police? Yes. All right. The Beverly Shores police chief. I don't recall her name. Okay. There was an Indianapolis officer who was also an Odinist, and we had spoken to him. Really? So, this is about a month or so after the girls lost their lives that you think you went and talked to. We don't have a report. I don't know the date. So let's try to narrow that down. I would have It would have been August at some point, sometime during August. Lori Lemler was only in Delphi, I believe, 1 month, and I believe that month was August. In 2017. Thank you. Sorry. No, that's good. And I thought maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you said that Lori Lemler, she said she couldn't remember if it was recorded. Right. Okay. She couldn't remember the interview at all. So if Brad Holder testified in his deposition that he thought it was recorded, he's probably mistaken, would be your thought? Probably mistaken. Okay. And if Brad Holder said that you asked him a lot of questions about Patrick Westfall, would he be mistaken about that as well? Holy crap, you guys. There is serious corruption going on in Delphi or Carroll County. Answer. I don't recall asking him about Patrick Westfall, but Brad said he was asked a lot of questions about Patrick Westfall. Okay, do you know Patrick Westfall's name? Yes. Okay, and you knew he was a Norse paganist, correct? Yes. I believe he mentioned Brad or Patrick Westfall that he was the leader of the Odinist group that he was part of, and that they'd been in the military together. And by August, you would have seen Brad Holder's Facebook post with the rune that he had. I'll call it a rune, but the configuration that he drew on his wrist, right? Yes. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit K. Tell me when you have you seen it? What's on his right hand? There, right side on the right hand side there before. What? Have you seen what's on the right hand side there before? Yes. Okay. And what that is, which way are we? I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. The marking on not that. Okay. Not a W's body, but the other. Okay. Are you familiar with that? Yes. That is the marking on Brad Holder's hand that he posted a couple of months after the homicides, correct? I'm not sure when it was posted, but yeah, I believe this was a tattoo type marking on his hand. And that was very similar to the way the sticks were formed on AW's body. Would you agree? Yes. So thank you. And in spite of the fact that at some point in time after the girls were taken, and their lives were taken, there's a stick configuration on AW that looks very similar to the way that Brad Holder drew on his wrist. You weren't over there to ask about that because he had been cleared, correct? That's correct. And you didn't clear him? That's correct. Do you think he should have been cleared or should not have been cleared? I trust the people I work for, and if they say there were so many leads to follow up, so if somebody told me somebody had been cleared, I would move on and trust their judgment. Way to back your brothers in blue, even though, you could use your brain and see that maybe he might be a perpetrator and a suspect in this. But okay, keep a blind eye, whatever. Question. And you also know about the what I call the mimicked crime scene photo that you say was from 2012 that was on Brad Holder's Facebook page? Yes, right. And that was similar. I mean, first of all, that's real weird, isn't it? Isn't it weird? Yes. And especially knowing that LW's body is, posed similarly to the way that the lady was posed on his Facebook page, right? Yes. And still, in spite of that, did not go to Brad. You just said, he's been cleared. That's all I need to know. But I do want to find out about Odinism, right? That's a good point. So you're only going to Brad because you want to find out about Odinism, even though he's been cleared. But the Odinism is potentially a line of inquiry. So that makes no sense. But, anyways, all right. Question A. Or sorry, answer A. Yeah, answer yes. My brain is trying to do 17 things at once. Baldwin, no other questions. The court says, anything else, Mr. Luttrell? He says nothing further. The court says, all right, thank you, detective. You may step down. This concludes the testimony of Roland Purdy given at hearing on motion to dismiss conducted July 30th. And we are going to move on now to the testimony of Lieutenant Jerry Holman. And this will not be the last time that we hear from him. He's going to testify, I believe, every day. And Jerry Holman, lead investigator, he's on the thumbnail. So Purdy is the one with a hat. So obviously it goes from left to right, Nick, and then it's Jerry Holman, and then Detective Purdy, and then we've got Brad Rosie and Richard Allen, and then Andrew Baldwin. All right, so let us continue on. Let me switch back over here. All right, so this is Lieutenant Holman's testimony for the motion to dismiss. Same people in attendance, just different witness. All right, so direct examination of Lieutenant Jerry Holman. Attorney James Luttrell says, yes, Your Honor, we would call Lieutenant Holman. So they are doing the questioning, the state is. All right, for the record, state your name, Jerry Holman, and explain what your current assignment is and where you work. My current assignment is the, Area Investigative Commander. I oversee Lowell, Lafayette, and Peru posts, the investigative side of all three of those posts, and my current rank is lieutenant. And you've testified previously regarding in depositions and in hearings regarding your role in these homicides. Is that correct? Yes. At the time of the investigation, I was the first sergeant, which is the DIC of Lafayette Post, which oversees all criminal investigations. And you were part of the central command or in command of this? Yes, I was. Investigation, is that correct? Yes. Regarding the phone extraction or any examination or of any kind of Brad Holder's phone, do you have any knowledge of that? No, sir. Have you observed any records or any evidence that such an extraction ever occurred? No, sir. So they've never extracted his phone, or at least there's no record of it. Regarding the interview by Detective Lemler and Purdy at Logansport PD of Brad Holder sometime later in the late summer or fall of 2017, do you have any information about the records or reports or recordings of that interview or conversation? No, I do not. I didn't recall. I never knew that they went over and interviewed him. During that time frame, I was at a training. I think I took vacation in September, started training October, finished the training in December, and I think I came back middle of January, so I wasn't involved in the investigation during those 14 weeks. I was at the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Way to name drop there, buddy. All right, so what I understand, if Detective Purdy's memory is correct, he said he believed August of 2017, but regardless, you were not aware or have aware of no recording of that conversation with Brad Holder. Yeah, I have no knowledge of the interview happening or any recording whatsoever. Lieutenant Holman, based upon your department's examination of Liberty German's cell phone, including the video taken on February 13th of 2017 at the Monon High Bridge, but all the other data collected on that phone as well as the crime scene evidence, can you tell us when and where these homicides occurred? Through all the information that we discussed and evidence that was presented to us, we believe that the homicides occurred between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. on February 13th on Ron Logan's property across the creek from where the Monon High Bridge is. And the time of the video is what time? I believe it was 2:17, two somewhere in there. And you believe that the abduction occurred at that time? Yes, I believe from the video that Mr. Allen took the girls to go down the hill. Like how he throws that in there, the down the hill phrase. Question. And you believe that the homicides occurred sometime within the hour or so? I believe so, yes. And is that based upon your review of the evidence, specifically the evidence that I summarized, the cell phone data, the crime scene evidence? Yes. Mr. Baldwin introduced an exhibit a little bit ago from Agent Pohl's report of the interview of February 17th, 2017 of Brad Holder. Are you familiar with that? Yes. To your knowledge, where did Brad Holder assert that he was on the afternoon of February 13th? He claimed to be at work at the Liberty landfill in Buffalo, Indiana. Are you familiar with Buffalo, Indiana and the landfill? Yes. Do you know approximately how far it is from from the Monon Bridge area in Delphi? Approximately maybe a 30-minute drive, 30 to 35-minute drive. Did he indicate where else he was after work when he was speaking to the officers on the 17th? Yes, he did. He told them that he went to a workout facility in Logansport, Indiana. I'm going to hand you what I've marked as State 4. Could you identify what that is? Sorry, this is an email from, looks like Michael. It's basically the check-in times at Workout Anytime in Logansport, Indiana. I believe that's oh, I'm sorry. This is his work record. Sorry about that. From where? From Liberty Landfill. The facility in Buffalo, Indiana? Yes. And Exhibit 5, since you mentioned, yeah, the work fitness place? Yes, this is a login. They have a key fob login system, and this is the time he checked into the workout anytime in Logansport, Indiana. So those are documents, Exhibit 4 from Liberty Landfill in Buffalo, Indiana, and the other is Anytime Fitness from Logansport, Indiana. Yeah, workout anytime, Logansport, Indiana. Mr. Luttrell says, I would move the admission of exhibits 4 and 5. They're offered, no objection. All right, without objection, they're admitted. And if you would indicate to the court, what does exhibit 4 say about Brad Holder's work hours on February 13th, 2017? On February 13th, 2017, he clocked in at 4:55 a.m., he clocked in at 4:55 a.m., clocked out at 12:12 for lunch, clocked back in at 12:42, and then clocked back out at 2:45. So that was his clock-ins for the day at work. So he started almost 5 a.m., went to lunch, and then he left at 2:45. So it doesn't fit the state's timeline if you believe the state's timeline. But if you don't, then it really doesn't matter. And anybody could have abducted them in this Odinist group, and then Brad Holder could have met them later. So this is nothing. This proves nothing to me. In terms of Exhibit 5, when does it say that he entered Workout Anytime facility? On February 13th, he arrived at the facility at 4:08 p.m. In the Brad Holder deposition that the defense took, are you familiar with the fact that he indicated that he believed his phone had been handed over to the police? Yes. And did he also equivocate and say that he was not sure? Yes. It's been alleged in our pleading that the conversation took place on page 13 and 14 of the deposition. I haven't taken the time to give that to you today, but does that sound correct to you? Yes, we've discussed what he said. Did he also indicate in that deposition that he oriented the experience of turning over his phone, that his phone and his son's phone was collected at the same time? Yes, he did. Did he say that was at the Delphi Police Department? Yes, I believe so. Oh, sorry, that's making noise. Why is it making noise? It shouldn't. All right. Yes, he did. Did he say Delphi? I believe so. And in fact, as the document offered by the defense and you've testified, Agent Pohl and Officer Goatee interviewed Brad Holder on February 17th. Is that correct? That is correct. Are you familiar with the fact that the Indiana State Police did collect Logan Holder's phone? Yes, I am. I'm going to show you what has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 6. Can you identify that, sir? Logan is Brad Holder's son, who was dating Abby. So it'd be interesting to see what's on that phone extraction. All right, answer. Um, Did I read that? I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 6. Can you identify that, sir? It is a consent to search cellular telephones. Looks like it was located in Logansport High School, conducted by at the time, Sergeant Brian Bunner, and with the Indiana State Police. And they took Logan Holder's phone, and it's signed by his mother, Shannon. At Logansport High School? Yes. On what date? 2/14 of 2017, 12:45 p.m. So almost very soon after the girls were found, they confiscated or seized Logan's phone at his high school. Mr. Luttrell says, I'd move the admission of Exhibit 6. Mr. Baldwin has no objection. It is admitted. All right, so is it your understanding, based upon this documentation and the work of Sergeant Bunner, that the Indiana State Police collected the Logan Holder phone at Logansport High School on February 14th, not at Delphi Police Department on February 17th? That is correct. In fact, did Sergeant Bunner document and indicate why he was at Logansport High School on February 14th, approximately noon, to collect Logan Holder's phone? And was it while he was present at the high school that he learned that the girls' bodies had been discovered? Yes, he did. Sergeant Bunner would have arrived at Logansport High School with the intent to obtain his phone, if possible, in order to assist in the searching for the girls. Is that correct? That is correct, yes. Nothing further. All right, Mr. Baldwin. Cross-examination of Lieutenant Jerry Holman. Law enforcement believes that once Richard Allen left the scene, he never came back on the 14th. Is that right? That is correct, yes. Who turned on the phone at 4:33 a.m.? Because Libby's phone it just started pinging again at like 4:30 in the morning. I believe the phone was still on. I think there's some conflicting reports on whether when it actually the battery died, and I think there's some confusion on the pings. The pings will still go, so I think the phone was still on. It just there's some confusion on that when it actually went. That's not an answer. Like that's a really cop out answer. Who have you talked to about the phone turning on at 4:33 a.m.? I just heard about that recently. Was discovered in the new software that they used. Before that, we were told it was the phone went off, I believe, at 5 p.m. that day, but now I think there's some new technology shows that it was on. Okay. I knew about it last fall. Did you do you think that the new software came out before, after last fall? Are you talking about? I don't recall. I don't recall. So what are you talking about? This guy doesn't know. All right, so you did not know about the 4:33 a.m. Attorney Jennifer Auger says on the 14th. On the 14th, thank you, that the phone turned on at 4:33 a.m. You did not know about the last fall. Is that correct? No, I did not. You've been in the courtroom during these hearings, is that correct? Yes. You heard about Exhibit F, which was admitted into evidence, which is a listing of, by our count, 101 people whose phones were extracted. Yes. So tell me about, if you know, about Noah Dillon. Did Noah Dillon date Abby Williams because his phone was extracted? Not to my knowledge. Did he have a mimicked crime scene, Noah Dillon, on his Facebook page? Not to my knowledge. Okay, did he have a hand rune that mimicked what the sticks that were on Abby's body? Did he have that? Objection to relevance, Your Honor. What's the relevance? The relevance is you're not taking. Okay. The relevance is who you're taking phones from and you aren't taking phones from, and who you suspect as potential witnesses or suspects. All right, Mr. Baldwin says, it is, I'm trying to make the point here that Brad Holder had all those things and they claim that they did not extract his information from his phone, but we have 101 people whose phones were extracted that did not have nearly or any connection whatsoever. That's the relevance. The court says, okay, well, you've made the point. You heard me read into the record. May I have the first one? The FBI emails, please. I thought that was E. You heard me read into the record emails between Jay Abbott of the FBI and Doug Carter, did you not? I did. February 17th. Here's suspect 6 is being worked on right now. He has ties to Bradley Holder, who we have been working. He may have ties to Vinlander's DT squad. Don't know what that is. What's that stand for? Do you know? Drug Task. Drug Task Force Squad is apprised and tasked sources to collect any intelligence which may assist. That is a February 17th. What day was Brad Holder interviewed? The 17th, I believe. Okay, Brad Holder was a suspect at the time, correct? Like Kevin Murphy said, I think some people might have considered him, others did not. I I think just because we get tips or information on somebody, in this case, the father of a subject that's dating the victim, doesn't necessarily make him a suspect. No, it doesn't, but all the other things that the defense has brought up does. But it's definitely somebody that we want to gather intelligence about. Okay. And intelligence, part of gathering intelligence would be, hey, Brad Holder, thanks for coming in today. Can I have your phone? Right? Early on, maybe not, but that was done by the FBI, so I'm not sure what their. Well, Logan Holder's name is not in this document as somebody that they're working. Who is the suspect 6? Mr. Luttrell says, objection. There's no question in front of the witness. The court says, yeah, sustained. Uh, he answers, can I read that? Because, sure. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it doesn't say who suspect 6 is, so I don't know who you're referring to. Well, Logan Holders, I mean, they mentioned Bradley Holder. If they were going to mention, are you suggesting the suspect 6 is Logan Holder? No. Okay. Logan Holder had his phone taken on the 14th of February. We just heard that, correct? Yes. That was part of the missing persons investigation at that time. Right. Bradley Holder, 3 days later, you're saying that they did not take his phone. I'm saying that there's no documentation or evidence indicating that the FBI or anybody else took anything from his phone, even though he says that he thinks that they did. That they did. I think he was confused, yeah, on that. Okay, Jerry Holman. Okay, I mean, he could be confused about the day it happened and where it happened when I think what he said is Logan and I turned it over at the same time. But he might not be confused about whether the phone was taken. Can Mr. Luttrell says objection. If that's a question, it calls for speculation. Mr. Baldwin says, I'll withdraw it. Question. Would you agree with me that Lemler and Purdy should have recorded the interview in Cass County at Logansport? No, I would not. How can you give me this? What about a report? Should they have written a report? As Detective Purdy said, when you're just gaining information about a subject matter, the state police does not require you to document that information. So I would say most detectives would not have documented that when they're just trying to gain subject matter. Okay. They should have taken Brad Holder's phone, though, on the 17th. Would you agree? No, I would not agree with you. You would have taken his phone, were you? No, I don't know if I would have or not, but at the time, he was the father of the boy that was dating Abby, a victim. So we're just getting information from them, and we didn't get the other information until later. Why are they like protecting them? Don't you think they should be suspects? I mean, everyone's supposed to be treated like a suspect until they're not, right? According to police and how they treat people when they're doing an investigation, everyone's a suspect. So why these people that actually have serious, like clear cut, delineated ties with the Odinists and the victims, like here's your connection. Why are we not um, taking it more seriously by law enforcement? Could it be a cover up? That I think is probably more likely. All right, so no, he doesn't know if he would have done it or not. Mr. Baldwin says, no other questions. Mr. Luttrell, nothing, Your Honor, thank you. The court says, all right, thank you, sir. You may step down. And that is the conclusion of the July 30th testimony. I do believe Dr. Monica Waller might have been on this day or somebody, I don't know, because it was a short day, or maybe they just had half a day. I'm not sure. So that was short, but the next couple of uh, parts will be a little bit longer, but I'm going to split them up so that they're shorter. Anyways, we're going to go move on to what is it? 1 second. All right, I had to look something up. So the next day's transcript is going to be the motion to suppress hearing, which is the confession. So Dr. Monica Waller was on that day because that's the suppression order or motion where they were trying to keep some of his confessions out, which she rules that they're all coming in because it's Judge Gall. So that's going to be the next one coming up, and then after that we'll do the motion in limine, which there's a lot. There's a lot still to go over and showing that there are Odinist ties and third party culprit suspects that weren't completely looked into. So you're going to see some eye opening things in these transcripts. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the like button on your way out and let me know what you think about this hearing. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye now.